I just found a new Unix command that changes pretty much everything. The biggest problem it solves is that when you're not in Vim and you're just on the command line, you have a lot less flexibility when you're editing like a command you're entering in. Say it's like long and has a bunch of flags. You don't have the same like movement abilities. Now, a lot of terminal emulators and shells have like a built-in Vim mode, like Fish does, and that's pretty good. Z Shell does, that's a little less good. But all of that is like a little bit weird to me because it's like Vim adjacent bindings, and it's like an extra thing you have to set up. I don't know, and a lot of it I've found is kind of glitchy. So what this FC command does is basically opens up your last command from history in your default editor. So it just kind of circumvents all of that. It lets you use your entire config, whether that's Vim or NeoVim or even that Cocoon guy. So what you do basically, if I print out my history, you can see that just shows like a list of the last bunch of commands. And this will just open the last, by default, the last command on that list. So if I list everything out and then I hit a little FC, you can see it'll open up ls because that was the last command. And then I could add whatever flags or whatever I want, or I could even change it, you know, to, I'll just do simple things for case of example, but print working directory. And then when I quit this file, it'll actually just run it. This command does a whole lot more than that though. It's technically, it's designed to edit, like control your history. And there's whole like history tables and everything in most shells. I think a lot of its usage comes history tables in scripts, but this FC command is more like a user-facing thing. It says in the general, oh, I gotta reopen the manual. I kind of drew in a weird way there, but if I search up FC, you can see it has a bunch of options, and you can kind of like find old, you can search through your history, or you can open a whole range of history. You can provide two like indices, and it'll open like everything in there. You can edit multiple things at the same time. But for me, the biggest use case is really just opening the last command so I can edit it in NeoVim instead of having to worry about the on command line shortcuts. And most of the time what I'm doing, or what I was doing before this, is not using Vim at all. And like if I really had to move around, I'd use the arrow keys, which is so inefficient. But and then there's also like a couple, they're actually technically Emacs bindings that pretty much every terminal emulator has built in. Like the big one that's actually works all over Vim too is Control W to delete the last word, and then you've got Control U deletes the whole line. There's a couple others. But let's say also, I didn't fully show the power of this. If I paste like a huge command like this, this is just like some random shit I got from ChatGPT, but paste that in. And say I wanted to edit something like that, or it was like a big, I don't know, NPX thing or cargo thing, I could easily then just go FC, edit it in there. And now like I've got all the editor motions, you know, and then I could even write this to disk or like port it to another file if I wanted to fully work on something. So that's just a hugely useful little utility. You can even get it to print timestamps and everything. I'm not exactly sure why you'd want to do that. You can also push to the history. There's also like other commands that can manipulate your history, but the editing ability of this one is, I think, what makes it just so useful. But I'm really glad I figured this out. I kind of think of it as standing for format command, but maybe I'm not sure if that's correct. I know this is built into Z Shell and in Bash too. It's probably built into most things. Yeah, I was on the plane and I started reading the entire Z Shell manual because I feel like I know Vim better than I know shell stuff, and I want to get better at shell scripting. So yeah, this is a great one to discover. You have to find it in your shell, like the built-ins. Like it's not in the, you can't just like man FC. It'll just bring up like everything for built-ins, and it won't give you specifics. But reading through all that was great. Yeah, you can see I'm on a houseboat right now, which is pretty cool. I've got pretty janky setup right now. I'm using bananas as a tripod, or I was. But yeah, that's about it for this one.